We all saw the confetti fall, right? Spain achieved absolutely spectacular glory on the pitch, pulling off that historic 1-0 victory and handing Lionel Messi and the defending champions Argentina a stunning defeat. But, while the world was watching the goals, there was a whole other game being played beneath the surface of the 2026 World Cup, a staggering financial reality. So today, we're looking past the pitch and straight into the massive financial machinery that actually runs the world's most watched event. Let's get right into it. Today, we're exploring the economics of the 2026 World Cup. I'm super excited to guide you through this explainer as we take a deep dive into the business of the beautiful game. And we're driving this entirely using the raw data and official reports straight from the tournament. Here's the quick roadmap for what we're covering today. 1. 2026 World Cup champions. 2. A record-breaking prize fund. 3. Breaking down the payouts. And finally, 4. Where the money goes. Let's jump in. 2026 World Cup champions. So, as we know, the tournament culminated in a final that is absolutely going down in the history books. Spain took down Messi and Argentina 1-0, locking in their second World Cup title ever. It was an incredibly thrilling conclusion that left the defending champions defeated. But what happened next on the podium? Well, that marked a pretty unique moment in the tournament's history too. Moving to the actual ceremonial proceedings, the iconic World Cup trophy was officially handed over to La Roja by U.S. President Donald Trump. This formal presentation officially closed the book on the competition's time on North American soil and, as you'd expect, instantly kicked off the massive worldwide celebrations for the Spanish squad. Now, here is a really fascinating detail that added a brand new layer of sporting history for the champions. For the literal first time ever, the World Cup winners received actual championship rings right alongside the trophy, kind of like what you see in North American sports leagues. But hey, rings and trophies are ultimately just physical symbols, right? So let's pivot and look at the actual financial prizes backing all this up. Which brings us to Section 2, a record-breaking prize fund. $871 million. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. That is the historic total prize pool distributed by FIFA for the 2026 World Cup. It is an absolutely awe-inspiring, jaw-dropping sum of money. But to really grasp the magnitude of what we're talking about here, we have to look at the historical context. Let's rewind to the 2022 Qatar World Cup. The total prize pool back then was $440 million. Now look at the 2026 North America World Cup, sitting at $871 million. The prize pool didn't just grow, it practically doubled from the previous tournament. That right there is exactly why we're calling the scale of this event completely record-breaking. So you're probably wondering why the massive surge in funding. Well, it really comes down to cold, hard logistical reality. First off, the tournament expanded to a massive 48-team roster. More teams, more money. Second, we had unprecedented tri-host travel costs spreading across the US, Canada, and Mexico. In fact, it was such a heavy lift that several European national federations argued the rising travel and accommodation costs made the original budget totally insufficient. Because of those specific demands, FIFA actually had to make a $100 million late addition to the prize pool earlier this year just to cover those vast distances. Let's get into the specifics in Section 3. Breaking down the payouts. Let's take a look at the absolute top earners here. First place, Spain, secured a staggering $51 million. That is the single biggest champions payout in the history of the tournament. To put that into perspective, Argentina earned $42 million for winning it all in Qatar back in 2022. This year, taking second place, Argentina still takes home $34 million. And third place, England, walks away with a very impressive $30 million. As you'd expect, advancing further in the tournament directly correlates to a much larger financial reward. Fourth place France gets $28 million. The quarterfinalists each take home $20 million. The round of 16 teams get $16 million. Round of 32 take $12 million. And here's the really crazy part. Even the teams that were eliminated right away in the group stage, they still secured a massive 8-figure sum of $10 million each, literally just for showing up and participating. But wait, there is actually more. On top of those massive placement payouts we just walked through, every single one of the 48 participating teams received a flat preparation grant of $2.5 million. This chunk of change was introduced explicitly to cover pre-tournament prep and training camps.
And crucially, it was designed to prevent those notorious bonus disputes between players and their national federations before a single ball was even kicked. All right, bringing it home with Section 4, Where the Money Goes.
Okay, we need to clear up a very common misconception. A lot of people think that the star players get this multi-million-dollar prize money directly deposited straight into their personal bank accounts. Well, fact check, the money actually goes strictly to the national football federations. How that giant pot of money is ultimately distributed, that depends entirely on the specific federation's own internal policies and whatever agreements they've managed to negotiate with their players. And the financial support from FIFA goes well beyond just that actual prize pool. Let me rapid fire some of these incredible operational expenses that FIFA covers in addition to the prize money. Get this. They pay for business class return flights for the teams, hotel accommodations for a 50-member delegation per team, all the domestic travel within the 3 host nations, and they even provide dedicated vehicle fleets, complete with equipment trucks for every single squad. It is an absolute logistical mammoth. So, with FIFA footing that massive bill, what financial burdens actually remain on the individual national federations? Well, despite the giant payouts and the logistics coverage, the federations are still strictly responsible for their own team insurance, paying out of pocket for any extra delegation members they decide to bring beyond that 50-person limit, and, of course, any incidental hotel expenses. Many bar tabs add up, I guess. And that brings us to a final, pretty thought-provoking question to leave you with. As these global tournaments just continue to expand, adding way more teams and spanning across literally entire continents, will a billion-dollar prize pool soon become the bare minimum standard for the beautiful game? It's wild to think about, and it certainly leaves us marveling at the rapidly ballooning economics of global sports. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. I really hope we helped bring the incredible business of the 2026 World Cup into crystal clear focus for you. Catch you next time.